Senator John Kennedy goes onto CNN and he doesn't hold any punches in regards to why this shutdown is happening and how do we finally get this to come to an end. This man is a one-man show who does not hold any punches. You got to check out what he's got to say.
John Kennedy, he sits on the Senate Judiciary Committee. Senator, wonderful to see you, as always. Unusual for Senator John Thune to display the anger that you saw there. Now he's telling us that he's going to personally engage with Democrats. Why now? What is the change in the dynamic?
Well, yeah, Thune did get a little hot and bothered. You know, I don't pay much attention to that stuff unless somebody gets stabbed, then I'll pay attention. We're day 29 of the shutdown. It's a soap opera. If I were naming this soap opera, I'd call it As the Stomach Turns. There's a lot of melodrama. It's not going to end, Casey. I don't care what anybody tells you, and John can meet with Chuck and this and that and the other, but it's not going to end until enough senators take their egos out back and shoot them. And so far that hasn't happened. And I do not see an off-ramp. I don't. If we did agree, and I don't think we could, but if we did agree on something on health care, it's got to pass the House. And I don't think well, of course the House isn't in, but I don't think it could pass the House right now. I'm biased, but I think the mistake that Senator Schumer made when he said, no, I'm going to shut it down, he asked for, it was such a big ask. I mean, when you add it up, it's like 1.5 trillion and wants us to gut the affordable care, the big beautiful bill like a fish. And it's just, he's so far out there, it's hard for him to get back off that limb. If he had something more reasonable, we might be talking. But anyway, that's kind of where we are. I'm not proud of it. My guess is the American people are thinking to themselves, a pox on both of our houses, and I can't blame them.
Do you get the sense that there is a change in the dynamic around a willingness to talk that's going on right now? I mean, SNAP benefits in particular, I mean, there's millions of people in Louisiana who potentially are going to suffer.
I think the SNAP issue, look, I don't want to see people in America go hungry. Nobody does. I think that the SNAP issue will turn up the pressure, which is probably a good thing in terms of getting it settled. And this, no disrespect to Senator Thune, but he can have all the meetings he wants to with the Democrats on the Affordable Care Act and make all the deals that he wants to, but he's going to have to sell that to the Republicans in the Senate. I'm not going to vote some way just because the majority leader tells me to. And more importantly, he'd have to sell it to the House. And that's what I'd really like to see us do. I don't know that Chuck would agree to it. I'd like to see us open government back up and have an honest discussion about how we can fix the Affordable Care Act. I mean, subsidies or not, the premiums on the Affordable Care Act are going through the roof. Something's wrong. That's an indication that they're not working, and we need to fix it or start over and do something else. But that's not going to happen until, once again, people take their egos out back and shoot them. And so far, they're not willing to do that.
So speaking of both the House and the possibility for finding a health care plan that will be affordable for Americans, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene put this up on the X platform this week. She said, quote, apparently I have to go into a SCIF, that of course a place where you read classified information, to find out the Republican health care plan, implying that there isn't one. And she's been pretty vocal complaining about this generally. What do you say to her?
Well, I think the Congresswoman, first, she's entitled to her opinion. I think she was upset because the Speaker in a Republican House member conference call didn't talk about what he wanted to do. And I understand why he didn't, because it would, the House is like the Senate. It leaks like the Titanic. I mean, it would have leaked immediately. I get that. I think a lot of people, I've certainly been thinking about what we could do to try to fix the Affordable Care Act. There are a number of ideas being batted around. Association health plans, bringing back high-risk pools, which have been outlawed under the Affordable Care Act. I think a lot of young people who are very healthy in between jobs would like to buy a high deductible health insurance that's not necessarily long-term. Now, a lot of the insurance companies are not going to like some of these ideas because they're fat and happy and they're making money. In fact, the American taxpayer, the federal government, is sending subsidy checks directly to the insurance companies. That's also one of the things we ought to change. I have no doubt that we can come up with something, Casey. But once again, the longer we go, the egos get involved, and people get prideful. And you saw it with Senator Thune, and probably now Senator Schumer's going to feel like he's got to bite him back. And we're kind of like kids now in the back of a minivan fighting, and it's not a good look. But I've seen it before, and you have too.
Senator John Kennedy with an honest, if slightly depressing assessment.
This is why the aliens lock their doors when they fly past Earth. Okay, nobody's impressed with this, but it's not going to get better until everybody puts their egos aside.
I will tell my kids in the back of the minivan this is why they don't get to meet the aliens. Senator John Kennedy, thank you. I really appreciate your time.
One of the reasons I love Senator Kennedy so much is because he refuses to waver. He refuses to cave into these incessant and egregious demands by the Democrats. It's not like the Democrats are looking out for Americans and they're trying to do their best to make sure the American people are better represented. They're looking out for illegal immigration. They're looking out for immigrants who came into this country illegally so that they can get health care. This is a $1.5 trillion issue, and they want the Republicans to cave, and they are using the American people as bait. I don't understand how Americans can view this situation right here, know that they are being taken hostage by the Democrats, and still support the Democrats. They're using you as blackmail to get what they want, which is basically the anti-Big Beautiful Bill. They're trying to negate what was already signed into law on July 4th with that bill. And not only are they holding us all hostage, but then they have the audacity to go onto Twitter, to go onto the mainstream media and start parroting this narrative. Oh yeah, this shutdown is all because of the Republicans. They have the House, they have the Senate, they have the presidency. This is all because of them. No, it's not. And anybody who looks at this situation for more than 5 seconds can come to that realization. In fact, the Republicans brought up a clean bill that all it did would put the lights on in the government so that they can stay open. There's no partisan issues in the bill. It was basically so that both sides can get talking again and the government can open. And they refused it. Not once, not twice, but up until this point, I believe it is 14 times. I refuse to believe or go along with the narrative that the Democrats are looking out for Americans, yet they refuse to even negotiate. What's the old saying that they talk about in movies about America? They refuse to negotiate with terrorists, and what the Democrats are doing is basically terrorizing Americans. So, Senator John Kennedy and any Republican in Congress and the Senate, I urge you, do not waver, do not cower, do not let them get what they want, which is basically negating what we all voted for in November of last year. We want the Big Beautiful Bill in action. We don't want to fund illegal immigrants for health care. We don't want any of that garbage. All that we want is to put America first for a change. That's what we voted for. That's what we demand. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this down below. When do you think this shutdown is finally going to end? Let me know. I'd love to know your thoughts on that. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash out, like, comment, subscribe, and wish you guys nothing but the best. Until next time.